Have you ever noticed how some men don't actually lose women? They quietly push them away? Not with one big mistake, not with some dramatic blow-up, but with small signals, subtle behaviors, things they think are harmless, or even romantic, that slowly make a woman step back, emotionally first, then physically, then completely. And the worst part? Most men never even realize it's happening until she's already gone. A lot of guys think they're unlucky with women, that women just don't like guys like them. But the truth is usually way simpler and way more uncomfortable. It's not that women despise them, it's that these men are unknowingly doing things that make women uneasy. And once a woman becomes wary of you, once that internal alarm goes off in her head, getting her attention again feels like trying to sprint uphill in wet sand. Possible? Maybe. Likely? Not really. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Harold. This is The Hidden Code, a place for men who want clarity in relationships and self-development through actionable, practical psychology. No theory for theory's sake, no feel-good nonsense, just real-world patterns that either work for you or quietly work against you. Today, we're breaking down some huge mistakes men make that chase women away. And I want you to hear this clearly. This isn't about shaming, it's about awareness. Because once you see these patterns, you can't unsee them. And once you stop making these mistakes, everything gets easier. Not effortless, but cleaner, calmer, more controlled. Let's jump right in. The first mistake is being in a hurry to start a relationship. And I don't mean being intentional, I mean being rushed. Desperate energy dressed up as romance. You meet a woman, maybe at a coffee shop through mutual friends, or on a dating app. You've exchanged a few conversations, a few laughs, and suddenly, you're emotionally flooring it like you're late for a flight, talking about us, talking about commitment, dropping heavy words way too early. I've seen young, inexperienced guys do this all the time. First or second date, and they're already talking about how special she is, how they've never felt this way before. Some even say those 3 magic words, "I love you," like it's a punchline instead of a promise. And listen, no woman takes that seriously, not because she's cold, but because it doesn't make sense. Think about it from her side. You barely know her habits, her values, how she handles stress, conflict, boredom, or disappointment. Yet you're claiming deep emotional attachment. To her, that doesn't feel romantic. It feels rushed. It feels unstable. It makes her wonder, does he do this with every woman? Is this real, or is this just infatuation? And here's the thing most men don't want to admit. Love at first sight might exist as a feeling, but feelings aren't the same as judgment. You're allowed to feel excited. You're allowed to feel drawn in. But broadcasting that intensity too early puts pressure on her that she didn't ask for. It turns a connection into an obligation, and pressure is one of the fastest ways to kill attraction. I once watched a friend do this. Smart guy, good job, decent looking. Met a woman at a mutual friend's dinner. They talked for maybe an hour, texted for 2 days, and by day 3, he was sending long messages about how he could see a future with her. She didn't yell, she didn't argue, she just slowly stopped replying. That's how this usually ends. When you rush, you don't come off as confident. You come off as emotionally impatient, like you're trying to lock something down before it has a chance to leave. And brother, nothing makes a woman back away faster than the sense that she's being rushed into a role she hasn't agreed to yet. Attraction grows best when there's space, curiosity, time for her to discover you instead of being overwhelmed by you. If what you're feeling is real, it won't disappear just because you didn't say it immediately. And if it does disappear, it probably wasn't love to begin with. Quick check-in here. If this part hit close to home, drop a comment with one word: patience. Sometimes naming the lesson helps it stick. And if this channel is helping you see these patterns more clearly, make sure you subscribe and join a growing community of men who care about self-respect, emotional control, and real growth, not gimmicks. Because rushing isn't just about emotions, it often connects to something deeper, something darker, and that's what we need to talk about next. If rushing into a relationship is the first silent killer, the second one is control. And this one usually sneaks in disguised as care, concern, protection. Guys don't think of it as control at first. They think they're being attentive. They think they're being involved. They think they're doing what a good boyfriend is supposed to do. But from a woman's perspective, it often feels very different. The second huge mistake men make is being overly possessive. You have to remember something important here, brother. Before you met her, she had a life, friends, routines, opinions, a way of moving through the world that didn't revolve around you. And when two people come together, the goal isn't for one person to absorb the other. It's to create space. Space where both people can exist without feeling monitored, managed, or slowly suffocated. What turns women off fast is when a guy meets her today, starts dating her tomorrow, and within a few weeks acts like he owns her time, her attention, her whereabouts. Suddenly it's, where are you? Who are you with? Why didn't you text back sooner? Not once in a while, constantly, like she's reporting to a supervisor instead of dating a man. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Possessiveness doesn't signal strength, it signals fear. Fear of losing her, fear that other men are better than you, fear that if you're not watching closely, something will slip through your fingers. And women feel that fear immediately. They don't need you to say it out loud. Your behavior already says it for you. Real confidence gives space. It assumes trust first and adjusts later if trust is broken. Clinginess does the opposite. It demands reassurance before there's even a reason to doubt. And no serious woman wants to feel like she has to constantly prove she's not doing anything wrong just to keep you calm. I've seen this play out countless times. A guy starts checking in all day, then starts getting annoyed when she doesn't respond immediately, then starts questioning her friendships. And slowly, without realizing it, he turns the relationship into something heavy, something draining, something she feels like she needs a break from. And when a woman starts wanting a break from you, you're already in trouble. And this leads right into the third mistake, talking about your ex way too much, way too freely, way too carelessly. Now, let's be clear. Some level of honesty is normal. If you're dating someone, it's reasonable to acknowledge that you've had past relationships. That's part of being an adult. But there's a line, and a lot of men sprint past that line like they're late for a meeting. When every conversation somehow circles back to your ex, it creates problems in two directions. If you're praising your ex, you're indirectly telling the woman you're with that she's competing with a ghost, that she's being measured against someone who isn't even in the room. And no woman enjoys feeling like she's auditioning for a role you already cast someone else in. On the other hand, if you're constantly trashing your ex, you're also revealing something. You're showing how you handle resentment, how you speak about people once things go wrong. And in her mind, a quiet question forms. If we don't work out one day, is this how he'll talk about me too? Neither option works in your favor. The healthiest approach is simple. You acknowledge the past briefly, factually, without emotion. I was in a long-term relationship. It didn't work out. We grew apart. That's it. Anything beyond that should only come up if she specifically asks. Volunteering excessive details doesn't make you honest. It makes you emotionally stuck. Women are very good at sensing when a man hasn't fully moved on. And nothing kills attraction faster than feeling like you're emotionally sharing space with someone who isn't fully present. Let me ask you something, brother. If a woman feels like she's competing with your insecurity, your control, or your unresolved past, why would she stay? Quick pause here. If you've ever caught yourself being controlling or oversharing your past, comment one word below: awareness. That's where change actually starts. Now, once control and emotional baggage start to fade, another pattern quietly steps in. One that doesn't always look obvious on the surface, but women feel it almost immediately: scarcity. And scarcity shows up in two major ways that push women away faster than most men realize. The fourth mistake is being stingy. And before your mind jumps straight to money, slow down. This isn't just about dollars and cents. This is about energy, generosity, the willingness to share without keeping score. Nobody likes stingy people, not men, not women, not in friendships, business, or relationships. And stinginess doesn't always look like refusing to pay for dinner. Sometimes it's refusing to share information, refusing to be emotionally available, refusing to give time. Refusing to be considerate unless there's something in it for you. When everything is mine, 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 when every interaction subtly centers around what you want, what you need, what benefits you, a woman feels it. She feels like she's dating a man who's always guarding his resources instead of building something together. And that creates distance. Now listen carefully, brother. This doesn't mean you need to be a walking ATM. It doesn't mean overgiving or trying to buy affection. That's not generosity. That's insecurity wearing a nice jacket. True generosity is simple. If you can help, you help. If you can share, you share. Not to impress, not to negotiate, but because you're not operating from lack. I once knew a guy who was extremely rigid about everything. Food, time, favors. Every situation felt transactional. And women could sense that being with him long-term would feel exhausting, like constantly asking permission to breathe. He wasn't broke. He wasn't struggling. He was just mentally closed. And that's what repelled them. Which leads perfectly into mistake number 5, pushing for intimacy too soon. Let's be real for a moment. Attraction includes desire. Sexual tension is normal. Seeing a beautiful woman and feeling drawn to her is human. Nobody's judging that. But there's a massive difference between desire and pressure. Some men let that pressure leak out constantly. Comments, jokes, touches that linger too long, conversations that always drift back towards sex. And over time, a woman starts to feel like the entire relationship is being rushed toward one outcome. Like everything else is just a waiting room. Here's the irony most men miss. Restraint is attractive. A man who clearly feels desire but doesn't let it control him stands out immediately. It signals confidence, emotional control, depth. It tells her, I want you, but I don't need to rush you. The smartest move? Let her initiate. When a woman chooses intimacy on her own terms, it means she feels safe, ready, curious. And when that happens, everything feels different, cleaner, more mutual. But when a man keeps pushing, she starts asking herself a dangerous question. Is this all he wants from me? And chances are, she's already had experiences with men who disappeared right after getting what they wanted. She's not eager to repeat that lesson. If you want to stand out, don't be another guy trying to skip steps. There are 1,000 ways to build connection, chemistry, and tension without crossing lines. Conversation, humor, presence, mystery. These things create attraction that actually lasts. Quick check-in here. If this part resonates, comment one word: restraint. It's a reminder that control over yourself is more powerful than trying to control the situation. Because even if you avoid rushing control, stinginess, and sexual pressure, there's one more thing that can quietly undo everything. And it has nothing to do with what you say, but everything to do with whether your actions match it. By now, you might be thinking, all right, I get it. Don't rush, don't control, don't pressure, don't operate from scarcity. Good. But even men who clean all of that up can still lose a woman for one quiet reason: inconsistency. And this one doesn't announce itself. It doesn't explode. It erodes. The 6th mistake is not being straightforward. And I want you to hear this clearly, brother, because this one separates men, women, respect from men, women eventually replace. Reliability is attractive, not in a flashy way, not in a brag about it way, in a grounding way. When you say you'll call, and you do. When you say you'll be there, and you show up. When your words and actions line up so cleanly that she doesn't have to guess where she stands with you. A lot of guys underestimate how much women value this. They think attraction is about excitement, charm, or unpredictability. And sure, those things matter early. But long-term attraction is built on emotional safety. And nothing creates emotional safety faster than consistency. If you say one thing and do another, even in small ways, doubt creeps in. She starts questioning your commitment, your intentions, your dependability. And once a woman starts questioning those things, she doesn't usually confront you immediately. She observes. She pulls back slightly. And sometimes, quietly, she starts paying attention to other men who feel more solid. Integrity isn't about being perfect. It's about being aligned. If something changes, you communicate it. If you can't follow through, you say so. You don't disappear. You don't make excuses. You don't leave her guessing, because guessing drains attraction faster than boredom ever could. Now, the final mistake is actually 2 extremes on the same spectrum, and both push women away for opposite reasons. The 7th mistake is either being too timid or too talkative. Let's start with timidity. Confidence matters, not arrogance, not bravado, just a grounded sense that you're comfortable in your own skin. Women are drawn to men who move with intention, who speak with certainty, who don't shrink themselves to avoid disapproval. When a man is overly timid, hesitant to express himself, afraid to lead, afraid to take up space, it's hard for a woman to feel secure around him. Not because she wants domination, but because she wants presence. She wants to feel like she's with someone who can handle himself and life. On the flip side, being overly talkative is just as damaging. Some men talk nonstop, about everything, their thoughts, their opinions, their day, their past, their future. No pause, no filter, no room for her to lean in, and after a while it becomes overwhelming. Silence isn't awkward when it's confident, and mystery isn't distance, it's restraint. Women don't want a man who hides himself, but they also don't want one who empties his entire mental hard drive in the first few weeks. Balance matters. Think of it like music, too quiet and there's no rhythm, too loud and it's noise. Attraction lives in the middle ground, where confidence meets calm, where conversation flows instead of floods. If you find that balance, emotional control, generosity without scarcity, desire without pressure, consistency without rigidity, you stop chasing women away. And something interesting happens. They start leaning in instead. Let me leave you with this, brother. Attraction isn't about doing more. It's about doing fewer things wrong. And most of these mistakes don't come from bad intentions. They come from insecurity, from fear, from not understanding how your behavior is actually being received. Quick reflection before we wrap this up. If you've recognized yourself in any of these patterns, comment one word below: aligned, because awareness is where growth starts. And if you want to keep sharpening your edge, understanding modern dating dynamics, and building real confidence rooted in self-respect, make sure you subscribe and join a growing community of men focused on clarity, discipline, and long-term growth, not quick fixes or empty advice. Because once you stop pushing women away, the game changes completely.